Hey there everyone, I'm Vic Mignogna, host of Celtic Phoenix Productions, and welcome back. This is the 5th video in a series covering the Vic Mignogna vs. Funimation et al. Lawsuit. I recommend listening to the previous parts to have proper context to what's going on in this installment. Today we'll be covering all the depositions given for this case. These depositions cover the testimonies of Vic Mignogna, Monica Rial, and Ronald Toye. These depositions come in two forms, as written record and as video record. This summary is based upon the video, typically played at higher speeds, and as such was only recorded on a summary basis, not point by point like previous evidence. I tried to track as much detail as possible, but I did want to get this series out on it in a timely manner. The cleanest version of these depositions will be linked in the description down below, so you may view them yourself. These are all cropped from streams by Ricada Law, who is to date the only person to have actually released the videos in any public way. So for those hostile to Nick Ricada and his commentary, be appraised there is still some of that left in these cuts. But for my summary, his commentary has been completely disregarded. Also, please keep in mind these depositions are being taken by hostile attorneys. So the questions are asked pointedly to make the witness in question look as bad as possible. I'm merely summarizing the answers given to the best of my ability. As always, if I miss key details in the evidence, please feel free to correct me down in the comments. Nothing much worth noting beyond that. Let's dive right in. So, the first deposition is the deposition of Victor Joseph Mignogna. Vic was a seasonal police officer around 1986-1987, and he left to do videos for police PSAs. He was called the Fuhrer by the Risenball Rangers as a playful joke for a short time. He never condoned nor objected to it. He taught English and speech at Trinity Christian Academy in Jacksonville, Florida for 1 year. He does not recall if he left voluntarily or if he was terminated. He does not recall accusations of inappropriate behavior between him or any students that led to his termination or resignation. He does not consider himself a celebrity because he does not consider it his place to say whether or not he is. His reputation as a voice actor and in general is important to him. He believes he has a positive reputation in his field due to the frequency of his hiring. He believes what Ronald Toye, Monica Rial, and Jamie Marchi have said has damaged his reputation actively. He is not currently suing anyone else, nor has he sent out retraction letters. No one is compelling donations to the GoFundMe account. He knows of the GoFundMe, but knows nothing of the specifics involved in it. He had a former counsel named Tanya Meyer in Dallas, Texas, lasting only a few weeks before he hired Ty Beard. Vic made a confused private apology to Monica Rial shortly after she made her public negative statements about him. He made a tweet to publicly apologize to anyone he had inadvertently offended. Anything that happened between himself and another person alone in his hotel room at any time was consensual. He has never once been arrested. He has provided relevant documents to his attorney Ty Beard, however the detail of those documents is privileged, meaning that only he and his lawyer are privy to that information. He denies showing text messages from Rial to strangers at conventions. He denies having text messages from her. He does not support the doxing of witnesses in this case. He is unaware of any doxing attempts. He is aware of anonymous accusations, and he does believe that someone making public accusations should be identified. Women that have not made accusations should not have their identities revealed. He previously thought he was a good judge of character. Now he says, apparently not, following his friends trying to ruin his career and reputation the previous 5 months. He does not know if Michelle Specht would make things up to harm his career. He has been friends with Chuck Huber for about 10 years, he has discussed this lawsuit with Chuck Huber but is not represented in any way by Chuck Huber. He knows Christopher Slatosh, owner of Kamehacon. He testifies that Slatosh told him about the pressure from Rial and Toye to cancel Vic from Kamehacon before he eventually was cancelled. After a hiatus in communication, Slatosh and Vic worked together to make a new deal for Vic to appear. He does not know Michelle McConnell Blankenship, Lynn Hunt, Don Schultz, Jim Gogol, Emmett Plant, Naisha Perry, Diana Price, Tara Sands, James Prager, Kat Thompson, Tammy Denbo, or Whitney Robinson Falba, at least by name. He knows Greg Ayers. He testifies that Greg does not like Vic, that Greg thinks Vic is homophobic. He knows Chris Sabat through employment. He knows that Chris has called him a friend on numerous occasions. He was informed by individuals like Chuck Huber that Sabat hated Vic for a long period of time. He knows Faisal Ahmed through the convention circuit. Does not know him personally, however. He does know Adam Sheen through Funimation, though he doesn't know him well enough to give character testimony. He knows Todd Haberkorn through voice acting, considers him a friend, says that he has his moments, whatever that means, I can't remember the exact context of that. The two share a competitive rivalry. He knows Caitlin Saucedo only through this legislation. He knows Jenna Bruss through her marriage to Jerry Jewell, though they haven't interacted together in years. He has heard Jesse Pridemore's name through this situation. He knows Kara Edwards through work, and her truthfulness is depending upon what she actually says. He believes her recounting of events have been inaccurate. Chuck Huber was never told to settle the lawsuit for him. He was never diagnosed as, treated as, or told to be a sex addict. He does not believe he is a sex addict. He did not authorize the "I am a sex addict" statement that Chuck Huber wrote for him. Huber operated on his own in trying to mediate the situation. Vic is seeking to clear his name via this lawsuit. He wants to work again and continue making a living. He is currently taking Losatrin and Zoloft as a result of stress from the situation. He found it very difficult to be motivated to work and did not eat or sleep sometime following the start of the situation. Vic generates a living through voice acting, music, graphic design, acting on camera, and convention appearances. The number of conventions he visits vary from year to year. Sometimes he has contracts, sometimes not. He collects money from various activities at conventions. Conventions provide a handler to track earned funds, and his accountant totals the earnings. There has been a drop of funds as a result of the defamation, but the amount cannot be calculated exactly. Ty Beard was introduced to Nick by Nicholas Rekieta of Rekieta Law. Vic chose to largely remain quiet after retaining a lawyer until launching the litigation. He thought that these allegations were the same as earlier ones and that they would eventually blow over like the previous did. They did not. To Vic's knowledge, he has never been banned from or not asked to return to a convention before 2019. He says that it is unusual to be invited back to conventions in consecutive years. Vic is a rare exception with certain conventions. He was never fired from Sentai Filmworks or ADV Films. He simply moved, and that prohibited frequent employment. He does not recall being employed by Gearbox. He worked as an independent contractor for Rooster Teeth for about 4 or 5 years, recording lines remotely. He was never informed of Rooster Teeth's investigation. His termination with Rooster Teeth came through email. Vic replied to it asking for clarification on the termination grounds. Most likely accidentally, he received a reply from that email that, "I'm sure we're all in agreement, no one is to reply to Vic." He still to this day does not know why Rooster Teeth fired him. Vic's counsel reached out to Rooster Teeth to discuss Vic's termination. Vic does not recall any information from that interaction, but Rooster Teeth did in fact respond to that. He is very familiar with Funimation LLC. He was hired as an independent contractor with Funimation, and for 1 year he was hired as a director, which was more along the lines of traditional employment. He was contacted in January about inappropriate conduct from Funimation via the Sony investigation. This was the only time he was contacted for inappropriate conduct. He recognizes Tammy Dembo when presented the emails he corresponded to her in. He has never met or talked to her prior to this situation. When Dembo questioned him, she asked about 3 different incidents. A kiss with a coworker, which he says that the kiss was consensual, though it was infidelity with his fiancée. Nothing happened after the kiss by his recollection. The jelly bean story shared by Monica Rial. He says that he made a joke saying, "Now I can say I ate Monica Rial" in public in response to eating a jelly bean with Monica's name on it. The Yost twin room invitation. He claims that he knew them over the course of 3 or 4 conventions. He did invite them to his room. He did not forcibly kiss either of them. He was under the impression that they were attracted to him, invited them to his room, and after a chat he propositioned sex to them. They declined the offer and left. He has had multiple consensual sexual encounters at conventions, though not exclusively at conventions. It is very uncommon for him to invite women to his room. He hired a prostitute once. He has not made any mistakes with girls under 17. Upon reviewing the information, Vic was terminated from Funimation, leaving him shocked and dumbfounded. He sent an email to Rial following his termination. After he reached out to her, Rial published her account publicly. To his knowledge, she has never been investigated by another company for inappropriate behavior. He says that there are fans out there that will make up stories to get attention. The situation is a death by 1,000 cuts situation, as by his definition. He does not know the extent of the defendant's involvement in any given incident or news article over the duration of this conflict. He clarifies his statements on behavior with fans at conventions. He no longer hugs without request, does not kiss, and does not interact with non-adults physically. He does not consider hugging or kissing fans or children odd. He clarifies that kissing is not explicitly a sexual act. It is a symbol of gratitude. He does not keep a record of other 50-year-old men who kiss children on the cheek or forehead. He does occasionally yell at or get into conflicts with convention staffers. This, however, does not happen every time or often, nor does he believe he would be invited back frequently as he is if he did it to a detrimental extent. This is mostly in relation to expectations not being met by the convention itself. Vic encouraged his fan base to share positive experiences to counteract the negative statements being made about him. He did not request anything beyond this. He has no idea when the I Stand With Vic hashtag started or who started it. He says that playing Brawly, of Dragon Ball Super Brawly, and the Dragon Ball series in general, was a privilege. He says that out in public, fans do not regularly recognize him. At conventions, it's a much more regular occurrence because of the explicit purpose of being at a convention to meet voice actors. He has known Jamie Marchi for about 10 to 12 years. He says that regularly, voice actors on a given project only really meet at conventions due to sequestered recordings. He was informed that a cease and desist letter was sent to Jamie Marchi. At this point in the deposition, there's a lot of coverage about statements of fact in Jamie Marchi's tweets listed in the cease and desist letter. His interaction with Marchi in the hallway at Funimation was playful and friendly. It is possible Marchi interpreted it differently. He did not, however, whisper something sexual or violent in her ear. He thinks that Jesse Pridemore claims he propositioned her. He can extrapolate what the word conslut means, but has never heard it before, and he does not know Jesse Pridemore personally. For some reason I have a problem saying Jesse Pridemore, I don't know why. Jesse Pridemore, Jesse Pridemore, Jesse Pridemore, Jesse Pridemore. No. To his knowledge, he has never pulled a woman's hair while at a convention. The appropriateness of kissing a 14-year-old girl, typically on the cheek, forehead, or crown, depends on the context. He gives many clarifications about the intention of an act of kindness. It is a frequent behavior among most voice actors and okay among a majority of the population. His apology was to a small percentage of the populace that were not okay with it. He denies giving his phone number to girls under 15 years of age. His email is very publicly available. He corresponds with fans of all ages in response to fan letters. His mother is involved in some way with the Risen Ball Rangers and is called the Matriarch. He is unaware of the ages generally assembled in the Risen Ball Rangers. He cannot confirm he has been blacklisted from a convention. He does say that Anime News Network's article damaged his reputation. He began losing more events after Funimation and Rooster Teeth fired him, and after Rial and Toye started commenting on the situation. Vic disagrees with there being 100 allegations of sexual assault against him, and he clarifies that the distinction between 10 and 100 allegations is very important to him. He believes sexual assault victims are to be heard. He does not believe most of his fans are female. He was not aware of the Broken Staircase website, though he had heard there was a list akin to it. He would be surprised to hear sexual harassment rumors against him were regular. He was told that he was cancelled from a convention due to his firing from Funimation and Rooster Teeth. He believed the second and third tweets by Funimation were defamatory. Sony/Funimation, through the investigation, informed him there would not be a public statement. He did reply to Gizmodo's request for information. He claims that Gizmodo picked and chose the information they did publish. Todd Habercorn recommended a husband-wife PR couple named Jessica and Cliff, and they helped him form his public statements related to the case. He does not agree he is powerful within the voice acting community. Quote, voice actors are a dime a dozen. He does not know of harassment targeted towards anyone that has accused him. He does, however, know that his own supporters have been viciously harassed themselves. He has talked to fans in person how he has been attacked, but has never encouraged harassment. He says that his relationship with Michelle Specht was real, but also says that he failed Michelle miserably and regrets doing what he did to cheat on her. Vic is not familiar with the concept of rumor panels. He did host a Q&A panel that devolved into a rumor discussion because he wanted to address them at one point. He adamantly rebuffs being homophobic. He has never been drunk in his life, let alone stumbling drunk, and in fact he set up a PayPal to reward anyone to provide any evidence to prove that he has ever been stumbling drunk or drunk in general. He has heard of rumors of pedophilia for years, but adamantly refutes them. There is no evidence of any sort, no prosecution nor conviction. He has interacted hundreds of times with Monica Rial over the years, and not once has the alleged happenings been brought up in any kind of conversation or issue. He has no recollection of events described by Rial. His interpretation of events described by Jamie Marchi was him complimenting her hair, being friendly and playful. There was no threat or violent action or malice. He did not ever pull her hair and did not whisper something sexual in her ear. He very much takes issue with the phrase pulling hair by the attorney that's questioning him. He suspects Funimation got him cancelled from multiple conventions due to their sponsorship to Informa and comments made by Informa agents. He comments that convention owners on the fence can be swayed by the statements of a voice actor or company like the defendants. He has heard of the website Pretty Ugly Little Liars, though he has not looked at it. He does know it as a repository for crap rumors about just about everyone. Anytime he has announced for a big news show, there is a new collection of people that make claims and rumors for publicity or attention. He has not yet sued news articles and may still yet sue them. He believes his reputation has been irreparably damaged. He is aware of a website collecting positive stories of interactions with himself. Vic owns an iPhone X and is a rich hipster as a consequence and must be burned at the stake. Sorry, that was my own commentary leaking in there. Vic is unaware of ever being banned from TekoshoCon. He communicated with Justin Cook about the Twitter situation shortly after it started while reviewing the analytics of RWBY. Both he and Justin Cook supposedly agreed that the accusations were garbage. The second deposition is the deposition of Ronald Joseph Toye III. Toye is the fiancé of Monica Rial. He believes someone accused of a crime should be allowed to defend themselves. He has asked multiple hypotheticals around the accusations of pedophilia. He believes if two people accuse one person of pedophilia, a company employing that one person has the right to fire them providing there is an investigation, even if the investigation was faulty or unfair. If 4+ people accuse one person of pedophilia, a company has the right to fire that one person even without an investigation. During the questioning, Toye was notably evasive and aggressive with the attorney. He claims that he would ignore Twitter accusations of pedophilia even if they attracted thousands of replies. He is not sure what would move him to defend himself in that circumstance. He honestly gives some bizarre answers when questioned on his definition of due process to the point that I couldn't actually follow what he was saying. It's safe to say, however, that I don't think Toye understands what due process actually is. He says that disagreement can possibly be considered harassment. He is asked if the harassment is dependent upon the following replies, and he says it just depends. He is a loan officer for Mid-American Mortgage, and previously worked at Airway Mortgage. Mortgage. I can't pronounce the word mortgage! His Twitter handle is @RonToye. Monica and Ron are paying their own legal defenses, not Funimation. He has an Instagram and a Snapchat. He is not sure if he commented about this case on any platform besides Twitter. He knew of Funimation's investigation into Vic via Monica. He is not sure if he had contacted anyone at Funimation involving the Vic investigation. He knows a few contractors at Funimation on a personal level, including Monica Rial, Vic Mignogna, Chris Sabat, Jamie Marchi, and Ian Sinclair. He also knows Mike McFarlane and Colleen Clinkenbeard. He has talked with Chris Sabat, Ian Sinclair, Jamie Marchi, and Colleen Clinkenbeard about Vic, though does not remember the contents of the conversation. He does not remember getting text messages related to this case, but handed over everything requested of him. He attended Dallas Baptist University but did not finish his 4-year degree. He has been arrested once before for a bounced check. He engaged in a prior lawsuit over an apartment complex they previously lived in over black mold issues, and that case was settled. He was divorced 6 to 7 years prior for being an asshole. He is non-denominationally Christian. He said that telling lies are not good by his religion's standards. He attempts to follow them the best he can. He believes Vic assaulted 4 people that he loves. He was told 3 stories involving Monica Rial, Sarah Bachmeier, and the Yost twins. Monica, in her 5-year relationship with Ron, never once mentioned the hotel assault accusations until after the January accusations came out. He met Vic at a convention in Florida a few years prior. He cannot remember saying Vic assaulted over 100 women. The Yost twins lived with him and Monica for a year at one point. He met Monica at an apartment he was managing. He asked her out, which didn't count as harassment. He does not know the proper punishment for someone who lies and gets someone fired. As far as he knows, no one else used his Twitter account, and it is reasonable that he sent all tweets under the @RonToye handle submitted to evidence. He sometimes accesses Twitter through different devices. Ron was presented a binder of the 342 tweets made by his account since the beginning of the situation. He is not sure if he made and does not remember making any of the tweets at subject in this case. I will repeat that. He does not remember and is not sure if he made over 342 tweets. He did contact Kamea-Khan about Vic Mignogna, but no others that he can think of. This was through text messages. He cannot recall giving those messages to Shane Holmberg or if he posted them on Twitter. These text messages were sent to his attorney. He was never told by any member of Funimation or by Funimation's management it was okay to disclose the investigation. There was no conversation with anyone in management at Funimation at all. He acknowledges his tweets call Vic a predator. He does not know what punishment Vic should suffer for his alleged actions. He does not know how someone can prove themselves to not be a predator. By his definitions, this relies on the victim's input. He does not have any evidence Vic was ever convicted of a sexual crime. He did not report the 4 accusations he know of to Funimation. He did text about Vic to Monica sometime in the past 6 months and handled those texts to his attorney. He was furious with anger at Vic, but according to Ron, that did not mean that he had malice towards Vic. He does not know the legal definition of a sex offender. At some point during this part of the deposition, Toye's attorney tells one of Vic's attorneys, a woman, to behave herself. Things get heated in the room real fast at that point, and the group decides to take a break. That's a thing that ended up happening, and it's really uncomfortable when you watch it in the video. When they return, Ron says that he does not know if he approves of people accusing Vic in the court of social media. Ron is not sure if he's communicated with or commented on Polygon, Anime News Network, or Gizmodo. He had no involvement in the Fixing the Staircase article on Vic Mignogna. He knows who Beth Elderkin is, a reporter, and has had brief contact with her, though he does not remember the contents of the discussion at question. He has been to 3 to 5 conventions in the last year, though he cannot remember the last one that he visited. He knows Chris Slatosh and sent messages to him, telling Slatosh about Vic's behavior, but he did not tell Chris to cancel Vic's appearance. He denies having any sort of financial package on the table for Kamea-Khan that was withdrawn, however this is directly contradicted by the text messages provided by Christopher Slatosh in his own deposition. He does not believe everything everyone says about Vic. He believes the accused is allowed to defend themselves publicly and challenge the accusations of the accuser. He does not know how often he tweeted about Vic before 2019. He has witnessed Vic inappropriately hug a fan in such a way that he wrapped his leg around them in a full-body hug. This may have occurred at Florida SuperCon. This was in front of several fans. He did not communicate with that particular fan to ascertain her age or comfort with that behavior. He does not know if her parents were there with her. He has presented the site Pretty Ugly Little Liars as evidence. He does not know of any of the people there personally. He merely clicked on a link and decided that all these people are real and exist. He believes the listed accounts and testimonies on the page based solely upon the recounts of the 4 incidents he is aware of and not upon any kind of corroborating evidence. He claims he would not necessarily believe just anyone that accused Vic. He provided the hyperlink to Pretty Ugly Little Liars to his attorney. He believes he has read the IO9 article on Vic Mignogna. Monica is one of the people that talked to the article. He doesn't believe people labeled unconfirmed in the IO9 article may not exist. He doesn't know Carissa Barrows or convention staffer Mystery Corgi. He does know of Samantha Inouye Hart, though he has not talked to her about Vic. He does not know most witnesses in the IO9 article. He may have talked with Sean Schemmel about Vic. The final deposition we'll be covering today is the deposition of Monica Jean Rial. Monica has gone to college, got close to graduating, but never did. She is currently a voice actress and has been so for 20 years. She's under a yearly contract with Funimation at current. She goes through the Mary Collins Talent Agency. Amy Howard, Monica's assistant, also uses the @Realism's Twitter account, which is Rial's Twitter account. Her account, however, was not hacked in any way. Rial admits to tweeting about Vic, but does not recall specific dates. She recalls tweeting about Funimation investigation. She recalls tweeting about the Funimation investigation. She has a Facebook, an Instagram, a LinkedIn, and a Snapchat account. She says she would have only said anything about the situation on her Facebook fan club, supposedly directing other people to Twitter. She says she has not deleted anything from her Twitter beyond fixing typos. Which, Twitter, for God's sake, fix your typo system. Let us edit tweets. She is not sure exactly when she hired her attorney, sometime in February. She has paid at least $10,000 to her attorney. She says that she is exclusively paying for her attorney. Funimation was not involved. She has discussed the case with Ronald Toye and Jimmy Markey. Voice acting is her main source of income. She has an accountant to track her income. She is not paid to do press, it is simply a part of her job if it is required. For example, she did do press for Brawley for several days. Ron and Monica have been engaged 2 years and dating for 5. They live together and tell each other everything. She is close to Jamie Markey, Colleen Clinkenbeard, Christopher Sabat, Ian Sinclair, Josh Greeley, Brandon McGuinness, and J. Michael Tatum. The time she spends on Funimation's premises varies greatly per project. Funimation's working environment was professional and friendly. Hugging and kissing and greeting used to be the case, but now frowned upon by management. She does not know if she has an employee handbook. Policies are posted on the walls. She does not recall the rules for voice actors. Voice acting normally occurs separately, except for Wallace sessions, which occur very infrequently. She spoke with a number of people at Funimation about Vic, including Tammy Denbo, as part of her investigation. She communicated with several because of the harassment she was receiving from fans. She has not spoken her allegations against Vic to anyone before January 2019. Monica contacted Colleen and was passed on to Tammy Denbo. Most of their contact was through the phone, though they also exchanged emails. Monica did relate her story to Denbo. Monica went to IzumiCon in 2007 along with Vic. She spent the weekend flirting with Raleigh Pickens. On Sunday, Stan Dolan invited VAs to a dead dog dinner with the staff. Dead dog not being an actual dead dog, but a type of dinner for staff after a convention where basically everyone's dead tired. I don't want anyone thinking that they're suddenly eating dog. That'd be kind of weird. Vic invited her to his hotel room to see a fan film of his, Full Metal Fantasy. She went with him. She does not know how long she was in his room for. He played the video, and halfway through, he grabbed her by the arms, turned around, and started kissing her. She recounts that she was raped when she was 15, making this very difficult for her. She fought back when she was 15, and it didn't go well for her. So in this instance, with Vic, she just went along with it, knowing Stan would eventually come to the door. This is an important piece of information. I'll be touching upon it in my opinions section. Just keep it filed away for now. It's very important. She does not know why Vic would have initiated anything at that particular moment. Vic pushed her to the bed and lay on top of her. She considered how to get out of the situation without ruining her friendship with Vic. That's when Stan came to the door. Vic jumped up and went to the door. Rial was pale-faced in this moment. Stan walked up to her and asked if she was okay. She said that she was and covered her face. She was in shock the whole time. After dinner, she went back to the hotel with Vic. They went out to the patio where Vic put her on the phone with Michelle Specht, which was hard because they were friends. She went back to her hotel room after saying goodbye. This was relayed to Tammy Denbo. Monica also mentions the jelly bean incident, the hair pulling, the kisses on the cheek, and the pet names, honey, sweetie, sweet cheeks. These were delivered with condescension in conjunction with these other interactions. She does not recall the date of the jelly bean incident, probably 15 years prior at a convention. Greg Ayers and an autograph line full of people were present for this. She laughed awkwardly when he said, "Now I can say I ate Monica Rial." Says he pulled her closer when he said it. She only spoke of it once with Greg as an odd occurrence. She does not know how many investigations have been done on Vic. Claims she did not represent Funimation during the alleged assault. On her "he is the legal definition of harassment" tweet, she claims it was a typo and that she was trying to say, "Here is the legal definition of harassment." Her definition of harassment is repeatedly bugging and picking on someone even after being asked to stop, elevating it to a nuisance or a threat. She does not, however, know the actual legal definition of harassment. She does not recall making the "I've spoken it for years" tweet. She says that she spoke to Vic in the early 2000s and to ADV Films. She would be the one sent in to calm down Vic when Vic was angry. She was called the Vic Whisperer. Raleigh Pickens, her boyfriend of 5 years, was the only person who knew before January. She had chosen not to tell Ron until January as a coping mechanism for her childhood trauma. She recognizes the tweet where she told her story in a narrative form. She waited for 12 years to tell the story because she compartmentalized it. After getting a text and an email from the Yost twins, that's when she started to speak up. The Yosts lived with Ron and Monica for a year within the last 3 years. The Yosts were fairly guarded emotionally during their stay, they bristled when Vic was mentioned, and it would have been rude for Monica to press them on it. She believes that she and Vic are public figures and what she says will possibly carry more weight. She understands people can be jerks and not be harassers. She can't count how often Vic would grab her hair. Almost every time, depending who was around to see it. She can't recall if Vic grabbed her hair while it was short, but recently, Vic grabbed her by the neck while doing press for Broly. She considers herself to be a strong, confident woman with certain weaknesses. Clarification because Ron said that he had to be a protector. She has used physical force to push Vic away from her, and has told him to stop multiple times. Her tweet about her encounter with Vic was incomplete and missing details such as Vic pinning her to the bed and Stan coming to the door. She is not aware of any voice actors getting fired by Vic. Vic is made powerful in the industry by his presence and connections within the industry. He would often get top billing, and an example she cites is Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, where Vic's name appears on the box and Monica's doesn't, even though she was the main character. This is weird to me because I actually looked up this DVD and I couldn't actually find a box with any actor's name on it. So I'm not entirely sure what she's referring to here. If someone could track that down for me, I'd be very appreciative. I can't find the actual box that she's discussing. Monica does not know of anyone who has tried to get rid of or replace Vic. She said that Michelle Specht was a close convention friend. It is her job to make everything appear great. She commented on the situation to Polygon and Gizmodo, though under a pseudonym in the Gizmodo article. She was not contacted by Anime News Network. She did not provide information for the Fixing the Staircase article. She said that she did not want to ruin Vic's life. She does not know or understand how Vic may have been hurt by her statements. She does not know if it seems suspicious that she did not raise her situation with Vic prior to the 2019 accusations. She has been in therapy for years and has most likely discussed it with Ron. She came forward in January to corroborate the Yoast stories and stories by other alleged victims. If Vic would apologize, seek counseling, and lay low for a while, he could be welcomed back to the community. She never recorded together with Vic and was never required to do so. She is unsure of the number of conventions she has attended before and would attend after the deposition. She did not attend Kamehacon because Vic was there and she feared for her safety. She held her own signing parallel to it at a comic book store. She has met a few convention owners and organizers, though none that she converses with on the regular. She spoke to Chris Slaytosh about Vic. He is the only one. He runs Kamehacon among other conventions. She has not threatened to leave other conventions if Vic were invited. She says that a lie is knowingly telling a falsehood. She does not know if calling someone a predator who has never been convicted is a lie. And those, my friends, are the depositions, and thus ends my coverage of the facts of the case itself. The next video will be the final video in the series where I discuss my opinions on this case, in general and in specific, the schism in the anime community that it has caused, the unusual details surrounding the case such as the Vic Kicks Back GoFundMe, and the veracity of the evidence provided by each party. This includes looking at sources not only within the case but also outside of the case. That video will hopefully be much shorter than this one and prior videos, though I can't say for certain. There's a lot to cover in a short period of time. If you found this recap informative, please consider liking this video, hitting that subscribe button, and ringing that bell. If you want more consistent updates from me, well, you can find me on Twitter at Raymond McNeil, where I usually post a whole slew of shenanigans. Additionally, if you want to contribute directly to the channel, I do have a Patreon, where you can find me at patreon.com/CelticPhoenix. For $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, where I, as well as other members of Team Frostbite and other members of the RWBY community in general, like to interact with our fans. I'd love to see you guys in the Tundra. It's a wonderful, wonderful server, and we all have a blast there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.